It's been a while, but we're back. It's Blue Max, and we're playing Watcher of Realms. This is a tower defense game that will feel very familiar in a lot of its mechanics if you played popular games such as Raid Shadow Legends. In addition to facing off against waves and waves of enemies and defending them with your tanks, your healers, your supports, and your various damage dealers, there's many different boss fights, as well as PvP, as well as other challenges. But today, we're going to be looking at the most guild-centric aspect of this game. It's called Guild versus Guild, but we typically shorthand it to GvG. In addition to setting up your own defense, which we're going to cover in another video, you also have access to waves of the enemy soldiers you typically face off in the game. They're called demon soldiers. And today, we're going to go over several tips on how you can maximize your demon soldiers and succeed in GvG. Let's get started. Now, before we jump into the real instructional part of this video, I want to show a demonstration of exactly what GvG looks like. So I am one of the commanders or guild leaders within the Guardians of Light guild system. We're a very, very good community. You should check us out. And this video is going to be geared toward a lot of our newer players that are just getting into the game and are perhaps just unlocking GvG. So we're going to take this from the ground up. So here we are on the landing page for the game, and I'm going to click on Guild, and then I'm going to click here for Guild War, and then we're going to go into the actual battle. And as you can see, my guild Vanguards of Light, we're not having a very good day, but I'm going to show you a replay of one of my fights from earlier today. I'm going to go to Guild Allies, Personal Record, and then we're going to replay this attack real quick, and I'll kind of give a little breakdown of what's going on. I'm going to hit play. Okay. And I'm going to pause it. So these heroes over here, where my mouse cursor is, these are the actual heroes in the game that you typically play. We have right here up front is the tank. This is the first enemy, the enemy that we're going to hit first. So naturally, it's going to be the tank. They're going to be high defense, high health, lower damage. But the idea is they hold the line. Well, this is a melee damage dealer, very powerful, named Ezrith. This is a ranged hero named Dr. Van Helsing from a Dracula collaboration. This is the healer Carnelian, who is going to be applying healing. And then over here, we have a cultist fighter called Rosalia, who's going to be doing a lot of damage and pushback. And what I have down here are my demon soldiers. And you can see right here the shield that indicates that this is a tank. That's the Pharaoh's Guard. And the healing sign right here, this is called the Fool, and we're going to drop the Fool first to apply a shield to the tank so that when the tank gets in close, they're going to be able to take a lot of damage. That tank is going to be the first to engage the enemy so that we can catch the enemy team and trigger their ultimate attacks, cause them to apply all of their damage to the one unit that I have that's designed to absorb damage and not give it. That way, when this one right here, the Grotesque Fiend, gets in close, it's going to be ready to do a lot of damage. And we're going to be applying these swarm heroes, such as the Ghoul Hound and the Abyssal Beholder, which we're going to talk about every one of these in more detail in this video. They're going to be supporting the Grotesque Fiend in the attack. So let's just do it. And so I let my energy get to 10, and then I drop my Fool. And here in a moment, there goes my Pharaoh's Guard, and it's getting shielded. This is not the perfect timing, but you'll see the shields do hold, and we're going to get a lot of damage. Okay, and here comes our swarms. Over here, here comes our Grotesque Fiend, and now it's in. And now there's our Ghoul Hounds, and we are hitting the enemy attack. And looks like Ezraph's about to be able to attack again. That blue line shows his ultimate. And just like that, we have wiped out the enemy team. And I'm going to send in a bunch of fast runners to hit the enemy's core over here. I did fail to explain that the idea is you have to get 3 units through the defense and all the way to the other core. That is a rundown of what GvG attacks look like. So we're back on the landing page of the game, and now we're going to jump into the Demon Soldiers. And I'm going to show you 4 legendary and 4 epic grade Demon Soldiers that you should really focus on collecting. And I'm going to show you where you can level them up and things like that. So we click on Demon Soldier, and I've currently got it filtered by rarity, and we're gonna skip over these two for now. The main One of the main demon soldiers you're going to want is that grotesque fiend. That was that pink blob that basically did the majority of damage and wiped out the enemy. It's got this interesting mechanic where if other enemies die around it, it gains additional power. And so, several of the epics that we're going to be talking about are used as food or fodder to feed the grotesque fiend and make it more powerful. We have the Fool as well. This is one we're going to recommend, and I'm going to explain in a minute where we can get the shards necessary to level these up. I do have the crystals necessary to level them up without farming anymore, but I'm going to hold on to these. And the reason why is because some demon soldiers can be farmed, and you can see that from right here. I'll explain what this means in a minute, and some can't. The grotesque fiend is one that cannot be farmed in a conventional way, so you need to hold on to your void crystals for it. So the fool's purpose is to apply a shield for your bigger units, and this is a very important one. The other two legendaries I'm going to focus on will be this one, the Bookkeeper, and this one, the Lightning Guard. I'm going to show you a demonstration of both of these later, but just remember for now, the Bookkeeper does AoE damage. So if defenses cluster up really close, you can sometimes pick off weaker damage dealers using the Bookkeeper. And I'm going to show you some examples where sometimes defenses are set up to where one of the platform or ranged heroes is in an exposed position to where it can be targeted. And that Lightning Guard is going to be able to pick off, or as we say, snipe it. Now, coming down to our epic, and you can see that they're epic based upon the color of the frame. The Ghoulhound is going to be one of the very first demon soldiers you want to get to level 7 as quick as possible to increase their health and unlock new abilities. This one is very fast. It does a lot of damage, but it can also be used to feed the grotesque fiend. We also have the Abyssal Beholder, and this one is typically used in conjunction with the grotesque fiend, once again for feeding. I'm also going to look at two epic level tanks that will really help you early in the game. You have the Pharaoh's Guard, and you saw that one earlier. And the key here, we read right here, it says it's an anti-magic defender. So if the defense you're attacking is primarily composed of magic damage dealers, and just over time, you're going to learn what heroes do magic damage and what heroes do physical, and you're going to run into those handful of really, really special heroes that do what's called true damage. And that means that it is neither magic nor physical, which means it is harder to defend. But this tank is going to be good against magic attacks. And then we're going to look at the Fallen Templar, and this is you can kind of see based upon that shield, this is going to be your physical tank. This is going to be the tank that is going to defend against enemies or heroes or defenders that do lots of physical damage. Now, let's get talking about how you can farm these. We're going to go back to the main landing page, and we're going to go over here to the raids section. And the main area you're going to do this is under Gear Raid. And the idea behind Gear Raid is these are individual challenges. These are individual challenges with maps that you go up against harder and harder challenges. And they often require different mechanics, and they have different types of heroes that are useful. And so what you want to do is clear as high a stage as you can. And look over here under the drops. You have to I want you to notice when I go from stage 18 to stage 19 that now we have these crystals right here. These are called void crystals, and this is what we use to level up demon soldiers. In addition to that, certain demon soldiers drop. Certain demon soldiers drop on different gear rates. So we can look at gear raid 1 and we can see the different types of demon soldier shards that will drop. And we didn't go over this one, but we're going to focus on here's that bookkeeper and there's the Abyssal Horde. So two of our highlighted demon soldiers can be farmed on gear raid 1. Gear raid 2 is very much about tanks and healers, and our drops here is going to be our Lightning Guard, our Fool, our Fallen Templar, and our Pharaoh's Guard. So Gear Raid 2 is a really great one for farming tanks. Now, understand you're also getting more than just shards and void crystals. You're also getting the actual gear that you equip your heroes with. But we're going to cover that in a minute. We'll hop over to Gear Raid 3 real quick and just take a look. And like stage 21, which I can farm, and we've got, well, there's our Ghoul Hound, and that's pretty much it as far as the heroes that we looked at. So that's one of the reasons why you may have noticed Grotesque Fiend wasn't there. That's why we're going to hoard all of our legendary Void Cores to get that Grotesque Fiend as leveled up as possible. Now, there are other places that we can get Void Crystals and shards. And so, for example, if I go under the black market, under the Dwarven Association, you're not going to get anything there. But I am just making a plug. This actually has really good items to buy. But we're going to go under the guild shop, and so yeah, you can get epic shards from from the guild shop, but that's not all too good. It's really going to be under the dungeon shop. Once a month you can get one of these mystery demon chests. It has a chance of pulling some really good stuff. And then you have what's called the awakening shop. As you summon for heroes, you're eventually going to reach a point to where you are selling duplicates of heroes, and that allows you to get this special type of currency. So every week I purchased the mystery demon chest for my epic awakening tokens. Now, as you can see, the legendary awakening tokens are much more valuable, and I am not far enough into the game because this game has been going on since the summer of 2023, and I only started in October of 2025, so I've got a lot of catching up to do. I am holding on to my legendary tokens very carefully for other purposes, so I'm not going to buy these demon chests. Okay, so in the next section, we're going to cover how we add additional power to our demon soldiers. Okay, we're once again at the landing page. We're going to click on heroes this time, and we're going to look at the heroes in my roster. So everyone has different heroes based upon what gets summoned by random. And the heroes, what we're going to look at specifically is this number right here. And the higher, this is called the BP or battle power. The higher the number for this hero, the better they're going to be used to affiliate or associate with your demon soldiers. Now, really advanced accounts, they will have like four or five, their top four or five demon soldiers will be well over 100,000, probably closer to 120. As a newer account, I'm just not there yet. So, for example, Neja, who is one of the best heroes in the game, we're at 95,000. Now, how do we get that? Well, one, we level them up to the very maximum. We promote them, give them as many stars, and most importantly, it's the gear sets. It's the gear sets that we use. So this is a gear set that gives a lot of attack boost as well as crit damage, crit rate, and massive attack speed. But if I go down here and I pick a much weaker set of equipment, um, like this right here, look, if I were to re-equip Neja with this set, we would lose almost 40,000 of our BP. So what you want to do, oh, and before I forget, we also have skills. Skills are leveled up through crystals, and if you're going to be doing BP affiliation with a hero, you want to make sure they have maximum skills. This is not the only factor. It's maybe not even the primary factor for where your skill crystals go, because until you reach the end game, these are these are a commodity that you are always short of. I easily need 100 of these. Now we also have artifacts, and um, I have Neja's exclusive artifact, and so that adds additional BP. Now, if I were to say put it on a lower level item or artifact, you see I just lost 5,000 BP. So we're going to put that fire tipped spear back uh, on Neja. There we go. Replace. Okay, so now let's look at how we perform affiliation. And I'm going to say, you see that number right there? That means that I have a duplicate copy of Citram, and you can see that by looking here under the Awakening. And so the higher the Awakenings, the more BP they have, because these Awakenings add additional features and stats to our heroes. So let's go back to the landing page, and we're going to go guild Guild War, march to battle, and I'm not going to actually attack this opponent, but I'm going to show you a quick way to do the BP affiliation. I click on attack, and now I see my team, and I go under Edit Teams. And so if I click and hold my Grotesque Fiend, I now have this menu, and I have the Affiliate. And as you can see, Satram, which is my highest BP hero, is the one affiliated with Grotesque Fiend. Actually, that's not entirely true. Ezereth has a higher BP. But wait, let's look at this real quick. Let's go all the way back. I do wish there was a button to just go straight back to home. Go back to Heroes, and look, Ezereth is at 99,000. The Tram at 105,000, but yet we saw that Ezereth had a higher BP. I have to remember that. There is a hidden, kind of undocumented stat that lords. This is a lord hero, which means it gives additional bonuses to its faction, and we'll talk about factions in another video, perhaps. Um, Lords get, when it comes to Demon Soldier affiliation, their BP goes further. So let's go back to Guild War, march to battle, and pick someone to attack, and edit team, click and drag, or click and hold. Now I can go swap, and we'll go ahead and swap Satram for Ezereth, and we get a slight stat bonus. And what will happen is the Pharaoh's Guard, who did have Ezereth previously, now has Satram. And so our Demon Soldier BP is right here. And so you'll notice that it's red. There's kind of a red highlight. Well, what that means is compared to this particular opponent, hold on. This particular opponent has a BP of 600,000, which is a whoppingly high number. In other words, the game is telling me that unless this person really set up a bad defense, or unless I'm an absolute genius at GvG, chances are we're going to lose. So the idea here is that the higher the BP for your team, the more likely that, provided you have the right mechanics and provided you have the right counters, you're going to win this fight. Now, so the key takeaway I want to make is that the further you push in your gear raids and your artifact material raid, because see, look, we get core, we don't get demon soldier shards, but we do get cores by doing these. The higher you go, the more cores, cores you get, the higher you get to level. Now, in addition to that, we also want to go back under Guild and under Drake's Chasm, and we want to see that by doing this daily boss fight, we can also potentially get a demon chest, but we will also get various demon soldiers, excuse me, and things like that. So we want to make sure we're doing this every day, and we want to push this as hard as possible. Another place to increase the BP of our heroes, we go back under raids, and we look under faction trial. It is really, really important to perform your faction trials. Now, the cool thing about faction trials, if you're new to this game or considering it, is that you can't just use all of the meta heroes. You have to use heroes that are specific to this faction. So within Watcher of Realms, we'll go back to heroes, and we'll apply a filter. There are 7 factions within the game. You have the Watchers, the Northerners. I'm not going to go into all of them. Or like today, it's the Esotericists. And so when you're doing the Esotericist faction trial, which is always on Friday, you can only use heroes from that faction. And so perhaps the very best tank in the game, well, the very best tank in the game is a Northerner. So I can't use him on the Esotericist faction trial. I can only use, it's Cadgrim, or sometimes we jokingly call him Chadgrim, this guy. I can only use him on Sundays during the Northerner faction trial. So the idea with faction trials is you just push as far as you can go. That's really outside the scope of this video, but you push as far as you can go because these faction trials provide you sigils, which allow you to go to the Hyperion, or rather the Pantheon, and I guess this is Helios, not Hyperion, and you get to increase the various stats of your heroes, their attack bonus, crit damage, attack speed, rage regeneration, or Dragon Spirit. This is going to be healing effect. How will your healers work? This all raises the BP of your heroes, which in turn raises the BP of your demon soldiers. Now we're going to go into how to use the sandbox and test some of these demon soldiers we've talked about and see how they're actually used. Okay, so now we're on my second account, which is a guild leader for Wardens of Light. And I did this because the Wardens of Light are in the B tier of GvG, and it has a much more simplified map. And that's going to allow me to easily show you some of the strategies that we want to do. So we're going to click on Guild War, but instead of going into the battle, we're going to go into the sandbox. This is actually one of the best things you can do. Build your own defenses and then build your own offenses and see if you can break them. This is a place where you can face off against other members of your guild. It's very common within our Discord for someone to say, hey, I just updated my defense. Can someone go attack it? And someone will attack it and let them know, hey, it worked great, or you've got a weakness here, or I was able to beat it with this combo. But for now, we're going to click on solo practice, and I'm going to show you first, we're going to go under attack, and we're going to select my A team, and I'm going to show you this is the exposed platform situation, which the lightning guards are going to be really great at. And so Idril is in a position to where she's in front of the tank and not and out of the range of the healer. And so we're going to show you how the lightning guards can pick off enemies. You'll often see an exposed archer here, or if the tank is moved over here, then they're still going to be exposed. Let's jump in. So I'm going to click on save settings and then start battle. And okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to speed it up to double time. We're going to wait till we get to 10 energy. Then we're going to drop our 5 energy Pharaoh's Guard. And then we're going to wait until it queues up. And again, we're doing this to allow the tank to absorb the enemy attacks while we gear up. And now that we have 10, we're going to drop our 2 lightning guards, and then they're going to immediately kill Idril. That's all I wanted to show you. Although we'll go ahead and play it out because the lightning guards are probably not going to do well. Actually, because wasn't a real defense, I wanted to see them just fly over the defense. So when you're setting up defenses, if you do not put anti-air heroes in, then flyers can just go right over you. Okay, now we're going to jump into a different scenario in which, in this case, Ezereth and Guan Yu are right next to the tank, Constance. And again, this is just for example purposes. These defenses are not optimized. It's meant to show a mistake and how to capitalize on it. So in this case, we're going to go to our team B, which is once again going to be our Pharaoh's Guard, and it's going to be our Bookkeepers. Remember, that's our AoE splash damage. We're going to go to start battle, and we're going to do the fight almost identical. We're going to speed it up. By the way, Constance has one of the coolest looks. She kind of fell off in the game a long time ago, but with a recent addition to some artifact material raid game modes, she is once again very much in need. Okay, so we drop our bookkeepers, and so the tank is going to die because Valara here is just flapping it. But look, Guan Yu just got hit. And now the bookkeepers are on the verge of taking, and the bookkeepers took out Ezereth, and that is the demonstration. So when enemies are clumped together, and especially if the healer can't keep up, and I did intentionally put a healer that is not designed for GvG here, but this is nevertheless, this is a strategy that is very common and often is successful. Now we're going to take and kind of apply everything we've seen, and we'll go ahead and overrun, or at least try to overrun, probably my weaker defense, which is this one right here. In fact, we're probably going to try the bookkeeper strat. So we're going to edit team, and we're going to go, let's see. Guan Yu is physical, Ezereth and Valise are magic, so we are going to go with the Pharaoh's Guard. So let's grab Pharaoh's Guard. Then we're going to do bookkeepers. Then we want our ghoul hounds, our abyssal beholders. I feel like I went past them. There they are. And we will get our grotesque fiend. So we're going to do our affiliations. Click on the beholder, and we want to affiliate. We'll go ahead and affiliate with Guan Yu, and we'll affiliate with. Oh, I just did that. My bad. Do the Avasol, and actually no, we're gonna pause this, and I'm gonna fix my affiliation. Okay, I fixed my affiliations, and we're gonna go ahead and attack one of my defenses. And I am going to cheat a bit. Instead of using Pharaoh's Guard, we're going to use Mariah. She is one of the demon captains. And if you've been playing the game for a few months, you may have had an opportunity to choose her out of a chest. She is my favorite captain. Now, one of the things with captains is they are extremely powerful, and if your demon soldiers are affiliated with their faction, then they get additional bonuses. They can also only be used a few times each GvG round. 3 to be exact. Now, we're going to go ahead and attack. I have bookkeepers, so we're going to go Mariah, then wait to hold to 10 and use bookkeepers, and we'll see if we pick off anyone. And then after that, we're going to go back up to 10 energy, and then we're going to drop our food, our Abyssal Beholders, and our Grotesque Fiend, and see if we can push through this attack. So we'll click Save Setting and Start Battle. Here we go. And you can see my Demon Soldier BP is lower than my defensive BP. Now, I was thinking Valara was going to be fine because I tested her, but I tested her against Lightning Guards, not Bookkeepers. So we'll see what happens. So we drop Mariah, and now we're waiting. We're going to go ahead and hit that button. So the attack begins, and now Valara is no longer hidden. She's no longer invisible. She's begun her ultimate, which means she can now be hit. And so our bookkeepers are going to actually Valara took a hit from Mariah, and now the bookkeepers are up. And Valara is still no longer invis, and so we'll see if the bookkeepers pick her off. And the answer is, well, this time they survived. My previous test, she died. Okay, I think Valara made it because she's now invisible again. So you do have some variability. All right, actually, Mariah's about to die, so I'm triggering her ultimate, which should provide her some additional defense. And now the bookkeepers are, yep, they just killed Neza. Neza is down, but Valara is still up, and Ingrid is doing a lot of damage. And our bookkeepers are almost dead, but Brocure, who's one of the best tanks in the game for GvG, is holding steady. Now we're going to drop our food, drop our Grotesque Fiend, but Neja, who is one of the very best heroes in the game, is out. And we can pop that ult again. So a lot of our damage has been dealt with, and so we'll see. Now you watch as the food dies, you'll see the Grotesque Fiend grow in size. We're going to go ahead and drop the Ghoul Hounds now. They're very fast, and they're going to reach the battle really quick. And when they die, the Grotesque Fiend's going to get even bigger. If they even die. Because look, Mariah has almost healed herself entirely, and Brocure has died at once, but he has been brought back to life either by Lily or by his own ability. I don't know if this is a second save or not. And so, see, we got a shield. That's the white bar. But we're about to add our second Grotesque Fiend. So this is a tougher fight. But as you can see, Mariah is nowhere near dying. And the reason why is she's in her red mode, which means she is resistant to magic, but weaker against physical. And Neza was just popping her. But it's over. It is over. The Grotesque Fiends are going to make it. Now you do see we have a timer. Go ahead and just add insult to injury. Valara will take a shot out of anger, but it won't matter. No, she actually ulted and missed. And there we go. Battle 1. All right. So, in summary, I've provided you with 4 legendary and 4 epic demon soldiers to look at. I've shown you how to go under the gear raids and Drake's Chasm, the guild boss, and farm for additional shards, as well as what demon soldiers can pick up shards, as well as void cores. And we've gone over several strategies for how to use your demon soldiers as well as how to affiliate them with your highest BP units. So if you've enjoyed this video, I would appreciate a like, subscribe, or comment, and hopefully we'll see more of these. Bye for now.